Yeah. Perfect. Will you look at the camera for me? Or you can stay serious. You don't have to smile. You can do whatever you want. Thank you.
Good evening, Rams, and welcome to Humans of CSU. I'm your host, Emma Iannacone, and tonight I'm joined by Carriana Tatum and Mikola Parker from the back office homecoming pageant. How are you two tonight, ladies?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what the homecoming pageant is? I know it goes through the Black and African American Cultural Center, but I don't understand. I haven't actually heard of it until this year. So can you tell me a little bit about what it is?
Basically, it's just a pageant that we put on through CSU. We initially had one of our first Black females do it like years and years ago, and it was an act of protest. And so in doing that, her becoming homecoming queen, we've kind of just like reciprocated that same energy within our office and just created that same energy and environment, like showing how beautiful and diverse and just amazing Black bodies are at this campus, as well as the talents that we possess, and just how amazing CSU has with its Black community here at CSU.
Yeah, I had heard about the talent my freshman year, so I'm a third year. That was 2 years ago. And I didn't really know much about it. I'd heard about the pageant, and then when I found out that it was kind of more like a celebration of Black culture, especially Black culture within CSU, like very specifically, I was like, I mean, I guess I'll want to join and participate and represent, of course, and just be a part of that because it has just a history of just good faith within CSU.
Yeah, it sounds like a really great celebration.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what does it mean to be in the pageant? How did it feel to be one of the candidates or participants?
Well, for me, I'd never done any type of pageantry or anything like that before. I was used to more performative stuff like band and choir and whatnot. So being in the pageant was definitely a different direction. I've never done something so individualized or kind of showcased myself. So it was kind of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something new, and also knowing that it was important for other people to see me and kind of represent well on that stage. So.
Yeah, it definitely was a great experience. We met a lot of great people. We almost spent 4 weeks together, just rehearsing, going over stuff, getting to know each other, seeing each other's talents, and seeing each other grow. And when you first go to the initial meeting and it sounds really scary and you're like, oh, well, I don't know about all that. There's a kind of a big deal. And then after you get to meet everyone and you see what it's gonna be like, it gives you that confidence, and it really makes you happy to do it, especially because I think this year is the most contestants we've ever had do it. We had 10 contestants, and it was really great because this year we also, well, it started last year, but this year we've decided to be more inclusive. Instead of calling it Mr. and Mrs. CSU, we call it the Homecoming Royalty Pageant. So that inclusivity within our community is really great as well.
Very nice. So was there a homecoming king this year, or was it just you two ladies?
It
just
was
us
two.
Very nice. Good for you. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved? You said that you'd never done a pageant before, but is that something that you used to do, Mikola?
I used to live in Texas, so pageants are kind of big there, and I've done a couple when I was a kid, but nothing crucial on the circuit. And I've always everyone always tells me oh, you should model, you should do this, and I was never really interested in it. I usually just played sports. And then this year I was I told my parents, I was I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna get more involved. I think it'll be fun. And then my parents were all right. And so when I did it, I was wow, it was really fun. I'm glad I did it too. But it was really rewarding as well to see all the beautiful talents that we possessed. And it was crazy because we talked about it, but it's a whole different thing seeing everybody's talents up front and them being confident and us just having a great time. So it was really just a beautiful experience.
That's awesome. So how did it feel when you two won?
Well, I was really not expecting that at all. I didn't know. It was down to, I think, a week left, and I was I don't know what I'm going to do for my talent, and I thought it had to be, what pageants are depicted on media. They're often big, flashy, people doing,
fire juggling.
Yeah, fire juggling, singing, with dancers behind them, and I was I can't do any of that. And I was within my majors, English, political science, I was I can put those together and write a poem and really just kind of be vulnerable in that space and express myself. And so that was just really important to me, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For sure.
And you also did spoken word poetry?
Yes, I wrote a little spoken word piece. And like Cariana, I knew, like, it was kind of weird for me because I won 2, and I was like, oh. I was like, oh, so like the first is like the Congeniality Award, and so it's like within our like group of contestants, we voted like for each other, and I guess I got the most votes, and so that was really cool. I was like, oh, and then like they're like, okay, well, Ram's choice, and like everyone in the crowd votes, and they're like, oh yeah, Mikola Parker. I said, what? I was like, oh, wow, and I looked at my mom. I was like, Mom, like, what is going on? And then like I had too much to carry, and so I was just standing up there. I was like, well, who's next? Because it can't be me.
And I was kind of like, all right, I'm ready to get off the stage.
Right.
I know I'm not gonna.
Yeah, her face, she was ready to go. She didn't even like hear her name almost. It was like she was just like,
For a second.
and she's like, and then you saw her face, but she deserved it so much. I cried in the bag. I didn't mean to, but I was like, wow, that was beautiful. Because we didn't really get to like rehearse it, you know, like see everybody's. And so actually seeing it and like her really putting her heart and the soul into it, it was really beautiful. And like I was like, wow, like it made me cry.
That's awesome. So what were your poetry, because you also did poetry, right? What were your poems about?
Mine was just about kind of seeing the way that societal impacts on like Black girls, Black children, Black hair, Black bodies, and I wanted to kind of express my own experience with that, from being a little girl and then to like growing up and being confident on a stage. Being able to even speak about that was just a really good experience for me. So yeah, putting that together, I was crying while I was writing it, so I was like, hopefully I don't cry on stage. I did, but
You did.
that's okay. I was just really glad that I could have been, you know, I could have done something else, but then chose to elevate myself and get out of my comfort zone, express myself, and put myself forward with a poem that meant, well, people had told me that it meant so much to them in the Black community and like, you know, their Black siblings, and I thought that was just really important.
That's amazing, yeah. Do something really meaningful.
And for me, I do Air Force ROTC, and coming to a PWI and like making this transition from a predominantly like Black high school to a whole like different situation, it was very like eye-opening for me. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing Air Force ROTC as well. That really was like a culture shock for me, and then recognizing that it's already one thing to be a marginalized like identity in there and being a woman, but then being like a woman of color, that's a whole different like scape. And so I was like, wow, so navigating through those spaces, it really like has really helped me like figure out who I am and what I like want to do at CSU and the person I want to become. And so I just kind of continued to write my poems like day by day, and kind of just like I write journals, so I just kind of took excerpts from my journal and said, you know what, I feel like this is like needs to be heard, or people can connect to this, or people can identify with this. And so that's kind of what I did. And I mean, I broke a podium in the process, so that was must have been powerful in some way.
You broke a podium?
Yeah, it was pretty. Towards the end, and it was I was like already, the podium was already not right, so I was like, I was looking at the tech people. I was like, help, what's going on? And they were like not looking. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, good thing I memorized it, so I didn't even look at it. I was just looking, making the eye contact with the crowd, and then towards the end, like literally like the last little excerpt, it just broke, like the whole thing just broke, and I was like, okay.
Power of the words.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I'm glad I did it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on tonight, ladies. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have. But up next, we will have we have a look at one of the on-campus clubs and an interview with more CSU royalty.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster.
but I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Well, Rams, Halloween weekend is coming up, and you know what that means. Ghosts and ghouls are about to take over campus. But this club is full of witches and wizards all year long.
Samantha Hamann is a big fan of Harry Potter.
I have more Gryffindor paraphernalia than I do for any of my schools.
A really big fan. And that led her to the Bogart Quidditch Club at CSU.
I wanted to do Quidditch after going to like some Harry Potter festivals and seeing the national tournaments, and I'm like, oh cool, so these are college kids. I'm going to college, I want to play Quidditch. So then I just kept searching around campus until I saw the booth, and I'm like, let's go.
Since then, Samantha has attended Quidditch practice 3 times a week. She says it's fun, but there are a few key differences between Muggle Quidditch and real Quidditch.
Well, we don't fly. As much as I'd like that, and if there's any engineering students out there willing to make some broomsticks, it'd be greatly appreciated. But seeing how we can't, we run around with a stick in between our legs, and none of the balls fly themselves, because like in the movies you see like the snitch fly, and the bludgers are actually going around with the mind of their own trying to unseat the players. So instead, we just do the whole like unseating part by throwing them at people, and then they have to dismount and go back.
However, according to co-captain Fiona Riddell, some parts of the game stay the same.
So Quidditch is a full contact sport. There is tackling. There's rules about that tackling, but it exists. But at the end of the day, at the end of the game, you're all still friends.
Even if you've never read or seen Harry Potter, Fiona says that anyone is welcome on the team. And if you're wondering how good they are, she only has one thing to tell you.
I mean, we beat CU.
The Bogart Quidditch Club meets at 5 in the evening every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday on the intramural fields. For more information, you can visit their Facebook page. And speaking of student organizations, this past weekend, Prism held their biannual drag show, and joining me tonight is Kira Hill, one of the performers of the drag show. How are you tonight, Kira?
Good.
Good, yeah. So you're part of the group For Your Gendertainment, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Can you explain to me a little bit what that name means?
So James, our choreographer, picked it out. All of us in it are either part of the community or have a passion for dance. Mm-hmm. And it's just about about mixing masculine and feminine, which is why we all had baseball jerseys on, but all of us were wearing heels. Mm-hmm. Malik was wearing makeup. Mm-hmm. So it was all about like clashing it and letting, expression of dance and drag not just be limited to two genders.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the theme of the drag show was like throwback, as well as masculinity versus femininity, right?
I don't necessarily know about the masculine femininity, but it was definitely a throwback, which was a lot of the good music choices and the fashion choices, which was amazing.
Yeah. How did that influence your performance?
Mostly based on like the song choices, at least that much. And I know that we tried to emulate some of the old dance styles that were in there, but we also tried to keep it very like heels and hip hop jazz, which is classic to the style.
Mm-hmm. Fun. What song did you choose?
We had like 4.
Oh, really?
We had a Michael Jackson one. We had I Want to Dance with Somebody. I know that one because I had to lip sync to that. So I had to figure that one out. We had a Destiny Child song. And we had a Missy Elliott song, I think.
Fun.
Yeah, we just James just kind of mashed it all together, and we just jammed out to it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, do you know how many years the Prism Drag Show has been going on?
No, this was my very first one. Ooh. I like wanted to see it, and James was like, "Hey, do you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes, absolutely. So what did you think?
It was terrifying. Because you kind of like, so we only had 4 rehearsals in total.
Oh, geez, that is not a lot.
We had 4 rehearsals. Our first one wasn't with everybody.
Okay.
So going into it, we were just like all just, practicing our guts out, and then getting there. For me, it was like I'd done dance stuff before, but going there and then being backstage and seeing all of the amazing drag queens and kings and everybody just back there and just prepping, and everybody was so friendly. And then when you're standing back there and you can like see the audience, that was terrifying because I'd never performed in front of that big of a crowd.
Really? But you've done dance before, right?
Yeah, I've done dance and theater.
Okay.
So it wasn't like the performing, it was like, there's a lot of people and this is a very new experience.
Yeah, definitely. Is it one that you think you'll do again?
Oh, definitely. Oh, I loved it. I loved the community. I'm not really quiet about, like, I am part of the LGBT community, so I really wanted to go see it, and the fact that I was in it was so cool.
Very nice. Can you walk me through your performance and how it felt to perform? I know it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but did it make you feel empowered at all?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like when you're in a heels piece, it really doesn't matter what gender you are, you feel empowered because you're standing in those heels and you're just rocking it. And I know especially when Beat It by Michael Jackson, that was the song. That was their first song. The minute the beat hits, you're like, I got this. And it was one of the coolest like things because that was the first thing we ran, was to just sit there and you hear the beat and you just know like, I am the coolest person in this room.
That's awesome. Well, I'd love to see a little bit of your performance. We actually have a clip of it with us. Can we roll that tape, please?
They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't want to see your face, you better disappear. The fire's in the eyes, in the clear, so beat it. Just beat it.
That is incredible. That drop that you do right there, every time I've watched it, it just like it blows me away. So did you choreograph for that, or did James choreograph that?
No, James choreographed most of it. There was bits of improv for each of us we did. So Malik's piece in the very beginning, which we got to see, that was completely improv to him. Later on in the piece, about immediately after I death drop and go through our tutting and stepping, we each have different moments of just improv, which was really great for each of us because Desmond, Floyd, Malik, I, and James all have incredible talent in different styles, and so it's a lot of fun for the fact that we each just got to like jam out and do our thing.
So do you want to show me how you did that drop? Because I mean, it looks terrifying, but I mean, you survived it, clearly.
So we weren't originally going to do the death drop, but we lost some people. So James taught it to me, and the first thing is so you lunge.
Okay. Can I lunge too?
And what it's going to be is so you're going to be turning that way, and then you just kind of fall. And so your leg is going to bend, and so the basic movement, that's all it is.
Like this?
So your leg is going to go out here.
Oh, out. Okay.
And that's all the leg movement you do.
Got it. Okay.
And then the more comfortable you get with it, the sooner you can get is it's a snap leg up and you drop.
Okay, so it's like
you take the hat off.
You got to lunge. You got to lunge, right? You got to do the thing.
So when you're going through it, you go here and then you drop.
Like that?
Yep. And so when you go fast enough, you can get to the point that you can just kind of sit here and just
like you actually snap. Whoa, oh my gosh.
It's a lot louder. But most of the fall goes into your hips and then your hands smack it. Which is why it makes so much noise.
Okay.
But the more comfortable you get, because all I'm doing is just twisting and then smacking.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kira. I really appreciate you coming on. I want you to show me some more moves later. But up next, we actually have two CSU students from the chemistry department, and they have some spooky experiment-themed Halloween-themed experiments for you.
You are listening to 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins with DJ Meanbeat,
DJ Nightshade, DJ Wildcard. Music to me is one of the best creative outlets that I can think of.
An escape from the real world.
Music to me is an expression of love.
Go from like folk to hip hop to like
classic rock, 1960s bossa nova. With music, there's like no boundaries.
And I work here because I love music, and you do too.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm now joined by Maggie Wellman and Hannah Hare, community coordinators for the chemistry department, who are here to give us a demonstration of the experiments they'll be performing this upcoming Halloween chemistry show. So, what are we doing today, ladies?
We're doing two things today. We're going to be playing with bubbles that you can actually hold and toss around. And the second thing we're going to be doing
is witch melting. So we were thinking that we would start with witch melting.
Okay.
So what we have here is acetone that I have colored green for effect, and we have some styrofoam balls. At the Halloween show, usually we have also styrofoam cones, and the kids make their own witch, and then we put in the acetone, and it is supposed to melt.
Okay, cool.
So
when you do these shows, you're doing them for kids in the community?
Yeah, so our Halloween show, we're expecting 900 people this year. I know, it's big. It's double, or it's almost triple what it was last year, which is a lot. So we're expecting that many, so for these kids from the community, so elementary school, middle school, all those kinds of people. And so we're doing these for them.
And we try and make our booths as interactive as possible. So we do have two shows that go on. We have a liquid nitrogen show that we'll have 3 during the night, and then a mad scientist themed show, which there will also, I think, be 2 of during the night. And then all the other booths are interactive. So these are things where the kids can come make their witch and then see what happens to it. The bubbles they can play with. We'll have tie-dye that they can make. We'll have the Entomology Club coming and the Zoological Discovery Center from Denver coming, so they can play with bugs and play with reptiles. So we try and make it less show and more interactive.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So how long have you two been involved with this?
We just became outreach coordinators this year. I've been involved with Chemistry Club, though, since my freshman year, so this is my 3rd year. Yeah, and then Maggie.
I had a class last year during Chemistry Club, so I couldn't attend, but I did a lot of outreach events.
Cool. Awesome. Sweet. So should we get started on the
Absolutely.
Is it witch melt?
Witch melting.
Witch melting, yes.
Yes, so we were going to let you do it if you want to.
All right, sounds good.
Would you like one of us to demonstrate it first?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what you're going to do for safety, take this stick and put it in the ball, if it'll go.
All right, got it.
And then you just dunk it in here.
Oh my gosh.
And it starts to melt. It takes a little bit, but I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should draw a face on my witch.
Yes, absolutely. The kids, so we have them make like the little hats with the styrofoam cones, and then they like can color it whatever color they want and make little faces, and then they go over to our witch melting, and it's gone.
Wow. So what is it that makes the styrofoam disintegrate?
Yeah, so actually in this reaction it's not technically melting, because melting requires heat. But the acetone is a really good solvent for the molecules that are in the styrofoam.
Yeah.
And so they break all those bonds, and styrofoam is made up of a lot of air, so as soon as you break those bonds in the molecule, then it releases all the air, and then you lose all the volume that you once had, and it just becomes dissolved in our acetone here.
Look, it's like gone.
Yeah.
What? This is chemistry so cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. This one's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's super fun for kids to do, especially because they like dunk their witch in there and then they can see it actually melt. It blows their mind.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So what are some of the the funnest shows that you've been able to do since you started this?
Personally, my favorite show is actually coming up on Friday and Saturday of this weekend. We do a Hogwarts Halloween show at the Fort Collins Community Center, and I've done that show already twice, and this year it'll be kind of cool because we're the ones leading it. But we run a Transfigurations potions class that all of the kids can attend, and then they get to see if Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco pass their Transfiguration test.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's personally my favorite show.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite one?
I'm actually really looking forward to the Halloween show. It's my favorite. I mean, I love going to schools and stuff. We actually just went to a school and we did 3 different science classes and showed them how liquid nitrogen works, because they're doing density right now, and liquid nitrogen is really good for density. So, but The Halloween show I'm really looking forward to because it's all of the events and the whole community comes. And I'm a real planner, so I love planning events like this.
Yeah, it's definitely a big event.
Yeah.
We've started planning it, I think, since school began.
Wow, cool. What?
Yeah, we're not even close to done.
Do you do shows for CSU students specifically, or is it mostly for, is it elementary school students in the area?
Yeah, mostly we do like elementary and middle school students, but we do have a show on Monday in Pinion Hall over in Laurel Village that we're doing for college students. We're doing a liquid nitrogen Halloween themed show.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so we do some shows around the dorms. Those are definitely just kind of showy and fun and getting people, I don't know, involved with our club.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So should we do the bubbles?
Bubbles? Absolutely.
Yes,
this one is so fun. Okay. Put on your gloves.
Okay. Can do.
Here we got fun colored gloves.
Yes. I love it.
So these gloves are 100% cotton because that works the best with the bubbles.
Also, the sleeves of your lab coat work really well.
Yes, also that. But if it touches like your skin or your hair or something, it will pop. Just so you know.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try not to let it touch my skin or hair.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna dip your little pipette here that has the end cut off.
Okay.
And then you're gonna...
I gotta get enough on there, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta really soak it.
Got a shot too.
And then you flick it. Maybe it'll work.
What?
Oh, that one popped. I'm gonna try the lab
coat.
coat. All right. Yours is not getting any bubble solution on it.
Oops. So does it need to have
Yeah,
like a...
see?
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you can play with what materials work the best. But this one's lasted a long time. We did a competition at Chem Club last night to see how many like times you could toss the bubble without it popping, and our high score was 46 times.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the kids just like, oh. Did the kids just go crazy with this?
Yeah, it's super fun. I personally think the lab coat works the best. But you can experiment with all sorts of different clothing materials and see what works.
We've definitely found that cotton and like the polys work the best.
Oh, I'm doing it! It touched my skin.
Yeah, there I got the gloves to work. Maybe if you were to try like the back of the gloves, that might work.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yep. So yeah.
That's awesome.
This one just keeps going.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you two so much for coming on. I'm having so much fun. That is all the time we have for this episode of Humans of CSU Rams. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the news from the people you know. Good evening, and have a happy Halloween.